It's time for episode 246 of Colette and Matt of Vintage Chat, a weekly conversation about video games. It's the moving images, it's the pixels, it's the polygonal geometry that appears on your screen. And guess what? It's not a movie. You can move the little stick or wiggle that mouse, and then guess what? The things happen. They change. You are in control of the media. Dare I say, it's interactive media coming at you on a screen near you. And we're going to talk all about what's popping in the world of video games this week. My name is Matt Silverman, and I am joined, as always, by the one and only Colette Bennett. Hello.
Hello. I wanted to repeat what we said right before getting on, which is that in many previous episodes, when I have had non-game related jobs, I have gotten together with Matt, dear listeners, for the podcast and been like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in game news. I'm not reading it. And now I feel like I have a literal fountain of game news pouring out of my ass. And every time, like before the podcast, I'm like, oh, Matt, let's talk about this and this and this. And what about this? Let me send you a link to this. And it's because I'm in a newsroom where people are talking about games from the beginning of the day to the end, which is great. But it's just funny. That's all. I find the 180 very funny.
I'm glad to be here in the 180 with you. A lot of people listening to this, they're not journalists like us. They don't know where news comes from. Mm-hmm. And we are here to tell you that it comes directly out of Colette's ass. That is where video game news comes from.
I mean, all the news on this show, for sure, from now on.
And it's been there the whole time coming out, but she rarely looks down. But now she has to check it out.
It's just really funny. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's not worth discussing this week. Oh, yeah, we're not going to discuss that. That really is worth discussing this week. So, yeah. Anyway,
I just like that look, I love doing the show with you, and I like looking at stuff being like, this is important, but I don't care about it or don't have an opinion on it. But here's a little tidbit that's like, whoa, we should dig in on this for reasons. And so, yeah, we got a couple things. So I don't know. Well, number one, how is the job going? You're now a week-ish in? Yeah.
I mean, I still feel like, you ever see like, I don't know, a baby cow or something get born and it's trying to stand up and there's like those sad little spindly legs and they fall after they stand up. I kind of feel like that. But it's fine because I have really lovely coworkers and they're great. And, yeah, I'm actually really excited. This is such a not game related thing, but I have to add it. I actually, thanks to my job, joined my first DEI committee at work because it's all volunteer. Cool. Great. So I gave them some resources for Autism Month. And then I also have a little blurb that's going to be in the newsletter this week. But it's just cool because it's something that I care about a lot. Here comes a cattail. There it goes.
Hey.
It's something I care about a lot. Not just that, but there's a lot of things that they put focus on that I'm very interested in. And I've always suspected that I would be very enthused working in DEI. So it's, volunteer as a part of what I'm, doing overall, just working there. But I'm just excited to touch it again. Okay. Goodbye.
Yeah. For audio listeners, the cattails are going wild here, and it's great.
This is the reason to watch the video version.
I was
going to
say,
folks.
This is how we get the views. I should put the cattails in all the thumbnails is what I should be doing.
No, really. But yeah, so that is like a really exciting, didn't see it coming kind of thing. It's like when I was having my orientation, they were like, oh, and we have this thing. And, some of our employees participate. And I was like, I want to participate. And so now I get to. So
that's great.
It's really nice to, have a job where I can quite openly say.
Have a job, period.
Yes, also. But also a job where I can identify openly and not mask at work.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yes. And bring your perspective as a lady, as a neurodivergent person, to a discussion about inclusivity. That's what this is the whole point of it. This is what we're here to do. So it's all good.
It's real nice. So suffice to say, I am enjoying my job a whole lot. But today's what? We're recording on Wednesday, but
We're recording on Wednesday, which I think is relevant for some of the news we're going to talk about, because I think by the time people are listening to this, things may have
a
evolved.
few
So
things
we'll
may have
talk about that in a
evolved.
second. So we are recording this on Wednesday, the 22nd.
Yes.
And if all of this is obsolete by the time you listen, fuck you. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Well, the only other thing I wanted to say before we finish this part of the segment was that I will be taking a break from my pleasant job on Friday to get on an airplane and go to Tampa and see BTS in a giant stadium with my friends.
Yeah. Sorry,
So
what's the venue?
It's called I don't have my info anywhere near me, but it's like the biggest stadium in the Tampa area.
In Tampa, okay.
Yeah, so very excited, and the amount of fan events going on around the concerts are like I was joking with my friends. I was like, there's like 30 events. It's crazy. So we'll share lots of stories of what it's like to go to literally the biggest BTS concert that has ever been held.
Will this be it's not a festival, right? But is it a multi-day experience, or is it one singular concert and then there's like other stuff going on around it?
So this is something that's grown up in this particular fandom. I can't speak for any other K-pop fandoms over the past couple of years. I went to Tampa for one of the members did a solo concert last year, and I went then. He was in a smaller venue than this. But the fandom has started to plan like events for fans, and it's all kinds of stuff. They usually have them at like bubble tea places or dessert places, so you can like eat something fun and like support the business.
I was gonna say good for the local businesses too.
Yeah, and then the fan artists make stuff, keychains, photo cards, all that stuff.
This feels. You tell me if this is accurate. This feels very con-like.
Yes.
Right? Is that what's happening?
Absolutely.
Organically?
It's almost like a little mini K-pop con that happens all weekend.
That's cool.
But because this is such a big comeback concert for them, they haven't had a full concert in so many years. I think there's just a lot of fans out there organizing events. So we were laughing about it. I was like, we can't go to all these events. Like there's like 30. And then the concert is Saturday and Sunday. There are a performance each day.
Oh, I see. But you are attending.
You will have zero downtime, basically, if you want to go to it all.
Are you going to both performances?
Yes.
Nice. That's great.
Absolutely.
You're going
not
down.
At the same ticket tier, but yes.
Yeah. That's not far for you to travel, right?
No, it'll probably take an hour to get there.
By
maybe
plane?
A little over. Maybe.
Great.
So it'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm super excited about it. So yeah, I'll have stories next week.
Bring them. Yeah, I love it. I'm not plugged in the way you are, but it's just a funny thing with the military service of like, hey, the biggest band in the world kind of like vanishes for whatever 2 years and then comes back and it's the biggest fucking thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they staggered it out, but yes, it is. And I will tell you that historically, stars always come back quietly. This is the first time that anything big like this has ever happened. Yeah, like usually like I'll tell you exactly why, because they'll perform, they'll train and then perform from like 15 to 25, 26, 27. It's time for the service because the cutoff is 30. They go do the service, and when they come back, they're kind of like in a new phase of life.
Yeah.
A lot of them will be like, oh, I want to go solo. Like one member of a band I followed, like got married and had a baby, and then like came back, and he does solo stuff now, but he doesn't like, he's not with the main band anymore, stuff like that. But it's kind of thought of as like a new, more mature phase. Some of the bands kind of like turn it down and slowly.
Many artists, however you want to frame this, are like, it's my young, hungry phase, and then they get successful, and then their life changes, and they're usually, sometimes their art matures, and you get the sophomore album, you get the hits or whatever, and that is sort of a gradual process. But in this world, there is a very formal like break where you grow up through this civic duty, and then you come out the other side a different person, and that's really fascinating.
It's super fascinating. And also I think in their case it's very interesting because there has never been another K-pop band that has gone to do the service and come back and had such economic pressure on them.
Yeah.
Financially, they bring in millions and millions of dollars for Korea. So, and not to mention what they do for their label. So, like,
Hmm.
they're cash cows. There's no nicer way to put it. So, it's like on one hand, it's great for us fans, but on the other hand, it's like the pressure would probably crush me. Like, just imagining that pressure, it's nuts.
Yeah, I don't really know what the economy of South Korea is made up of, but like it's weird to think that a significant portion of that gross domestic product is people that go on to a stage and sing. You know what I mean? Like
It's literally only these 7 people, which is the crazy part.
that's
And like they
crazy.
are the faces of like the Korea tourism industry. Like that's a big
Yeah,
chunk. Like
totally.
it's so complex. So yeah, it's very interesting. But yeah, I try not to think about it in too much detail, lest my empathetic neurodivergent heart is like, these poor fucking guys, man. Like, yes, they're millionaires, but
There is a level of fame only achieved by a handful of human beings ever on the earth.
yeah,
And I'm talking like your Elvis Presleys, your Beatles, your Caesars, your Shakespeare, whatever. And there's a weird analogies because some people become legendary after their time. But
sure.
I guess what I mean is like people who are alive during their global fame and that massive industries and economies are connected to their output.
Yeah, that's just crazy. I mean,
It's a level of pressure that is just so incomprehensible. A Taylor
it's
Swift,
incomprehensible. And like I
like
could be the
imagine
richest
everything
person in
you
the world, and
say.
yeah, that's what I mean. And
Yeah,
everything you have to be careful not to say.
right.
So
And the unexpectedness of like, oh, I just said a thing that came to my mind that is completely benign, and then suddenly, in a context unbeknownst to me, is now a flashpoint of a culture war or a dispute,
yeah,
or it's just.
yeah,
I hope like. You ever think about like what does Taylor Swift say to her therapist? You know what I mean? What our current administration notwithstanding, like Barack Obama, I hope had a therapist to talk to
God, you'd
like
hope so.
these decisions I'm making are so heavy that it's hard for me to go on.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
crazy.
I do, and I'm profoundly grateful that I do not have to think about or make any kind of decisions like that. I have
Right.
always said to my friends that I would be the worst person to become famous.
Right.
Like I would not do well with that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about those kinds of things here and there, and I enjoy thinking. I mean, it's a weird thought experiment, you know.
For sure.
And then you think about. Sorry to get all aboard on this train of thought, but like you sort of see celebrities will only date other celebrities. So that's not a rule, but like hey, I'm Ariana Grande is gonna hook up with other notable famous people. A, because they work together and they cross
Sure.
paths, but B, like there is a level of fame and industry experience that only these 17 people on Earth really understand,
Yeah.
and it's hard to relate to anyone else. And so I sort of get it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I
For
understand
sure.
why these people connect with each other, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And I completely agree with you. Like, yeah, you have your every once in a while one off, like, movie star that marries like a non movie star. But for the
A
most
civilian.
part,
Right.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I can't imagine, how do you explain to a quote unquote normal person, like, hey, I'm going on a world tour. I'm going to be gone for 9 months,
Exactly.
10
Right.
months. Like, this tour is 10 months long, 10
Yeah.
months. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a long time to be away from home, So, yeah. But anyway, so.
Well, let's talk about some news. I got this sound for you. Bringing it back to the news. We have 3 stories here. We can start anywhere you like.
I think I'm going to begin with Vampire Survivor stuff because, as I will get to later in the show, I spent a chunk of time playing Vampire Crawlers last night, and so it all seems thematically.
It came out officially as a full release yesterday, which was Tuesday.
So yeah, just came out. So of all the things, all of the news that has fallen out of my ass today, this was one of those items. And it's one of those things where you read it and you could misread it very easily. So I'm going to decode that real quick.
Yes.
Because it was published on a lovely Substack called The Game Business, and it is they got to go to the London Game Festival where they spoke with Matteo Sapio. He is the chief strategy officer at Poncle, which is what they call the company. Poncle is the company. You know, we've always talked about Poncle as a guy,
as a person.
You know, it's really Poncle is really the name of the company, and the person that made Vampire Survivors really was Luca Galante, who we've talked about his name too.
Who is seems to be reclusive. Like, I don't know that we've ever seen his face or heard his voice.
I don't think we have
necessarily.
Like, listeners, I said to Matt right before the show, like, oh my God, I thought that was him in the video that's on this page, but it's not.
No Clip did a really great documentary, but they used a puppet instead of him. And I don't remember if they used his voice or whatever, but that was a cute way to get around his camera shyness, if you will.
Very cute. Very cute. So yeah, for Vampire Survivors fans, like, wow, lots here for that, but then B, lots just kind of on the bigger picture of what's happening in the indie games industry for this, you know, incredibly successful developer.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of key bits of info. Vampire Survivors has now surpassed 27 million players, which is a lot.
So crazy, yeah.
Poncle will be opening 2 new studios, one in Japan and one in Italy. And the reason they're doing that is because, I'm guessing, they have over 15 projects in active development and even more in earlier stages. Now, what I want to clarify is it is very easy to read that and go, they have 15 games coming. They do not. Mm-hmm. This was clarified, I believe, on it's Twitter. I'm never going to call it X. I hope Elon Musk dies. Yes. It was clarified on
he
on
will
Twitter.
Eventually.
Yeah, definitely. I just hope I'm alive for it.
We hope.
But yeah, they so TLDR, everything getting bigger. The whole the Punkleverse, as I think we called it on this show, getting much bigger. It is licensing out its engine to other brands and studios to build Survivor games that will be like a part of popular IP. So
that's really fascinating.
Yeah, it is. So if you followed the DLC, you know they did stuff with Castlevania and with Contra. So I'm guessing it's going to go in that direction. But one place they decided to pull back, which I thought was very interesting, was with third-party releases. And we talked on this podcast about Berserk or Die, which they published last year under the moniker Poncle Presents. Mm-hmm. You know, it was a game where it was a side-scrolling game where in order to play, you kind of had to mash the the keyboard. And it was wild and crazy. I can't necessarily say after the word won't come to me. After the novelty wore off, was it fun? Did I go back to it? I didn't. But
I didn't understand the game mechanics. I fully...
it was a little
It has
complex.
Controller support, and it was like, all right, here's how you play with the controller. And I did it, and then I was like, I don't get this. I don't know the point of this game. You know, it kind of came and went.
Well, I think what they said was incredibly interesting, but also made me really just like them even more. They said with the third-party publishing, it was a learning experience. We did publishing because we wanted to give back to the community and to release games that maybe no one else was able to release.
Yeah.
But we found we weren't really able to give the right support, so we've decided to pause for a bit. We thought a bit naively with Love and Money we could support these projects, but perhaps it needs more structure. So despite the fact that they didn't keep moving in that direction, I love the spirit of wanting to give back to other indies. I think that's really lovely. And it makes me just kind of admire them more because, you know, with all that money, they certainly could have just kept it all. I think
even
it's cool
in this article, it's like, so instead of buying a yacht, he made the Emerald Beyond DLC for Vampire Survivors with Square Enix.
Right.
which was released for free, and then things
Right.
organically grew. I didn't remember that there was a free DLC.
Yeah,
Backing
I
up,
did.
backing up briefly for 1 second. Well, two things actually. 27 million players is a lot of players, and
Mm.
it's well deserved and it's amazing. With the teensy caveat that like the mobile version was released for free with you could revive with ads or whatever, which is a very good and in the way that it was packaged into this particular game. I found to be very respectable and ethical, and you could also
Mm-hmm.
buy your way out of the ads, and so that was cool. But I guess
Yeah.
my point is like I would be interested to see a breakdown of which platforms, because 27 million with a free mobile game is still amazing, but like you can kind of like acquire your way into those numbers, if that makes sense. Like basically like you have a hit game, and then you have a free version, and then you just basically create mobile ads in order to get people into your free game, and then you make money from the ads. And it's all like they are doing it ethically, but I guess I am just interested in the distinction between 27 million people bought the game on Steam versus 27 million people opened the App Store and were like, I don't know, what's this? It's free. And
Yeah,
I
that's
just that's
definitely fair. And that may be in the discussion. It's just not in the written portion of the article. I
totally
don't know. But considering the price of entry and the viral interest, I think
$3 or
I
whatever,
wouldn't be
2.99.
surprised if yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that came from Steam. But I guess, yeah, like you said, there's no way to know.
And also,
Um,
just briefly before you go on, because there's a lot more to talk about here. I didn't realize it was a custom engine,
yeah,
and
I
it's
didn't
very
either.
interesting that he built his own engine, and then it became sort of the de facto format for these types of games. And now they're like, because all these clones came out after Vampire
Right.
Survivors, and some were pretty great and some were just cheap knockoffs, and that this idea that they're licensing the engine so other devs can kind of make their own versions much quicker or above
Yeah,
board is really fascinating, and I
it
wonder what kind
is.
of business that will become for them.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it's they want to build. It says here they want to build survivors games based on popular IP. So they're not going to
Which, yeah.
just they're not going to just do it like. And then later in the article, it mentions Warhammer Survivors, which is being made by Auroch Digital and
Okay.
is what it sounds like, I'm guessing, which is that
Mm-hmm.
you will use the Vampire Survivors framework, but it'll be full of Warhammer characters. I don't know. I guess we won't know until that actually comes out into the world. But so
Look, you
yeah,
and
so
I
that's
are we're discerning customers. I every time I see one of these games, my head is like, oh, cool, they made a Survivor game based on this other thing. Why would I play that when Vampire Survivors exists? Like there is so much. It is the king of this genre, and there is
sure.
nothing really better than it because it keeps evolving and DLCing and whatever. So yeah, I guess I'm trying to think like, well, what's my favorite? What's an IP that I care about? Star Wars Survivors. Like, is that a? I'm a fan, but am I going to play that? I just don't know.
Right.
Like what? I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, what is Disney going to add to a Star Wars Survivors game that would actually make me care about it?
That's a
And
really
I
good
don't I
question.
don't really know. I'm sure creative people smarter than me will figure this out and crack the code. But it is interesting to me that in a world full of clones and knockoffs, they are smartly saying, "Oh, here's just use our engine.
Just use our engine, but you got to pay us for
You
it.
got to pay us." But if that is a
Right.
shortcut to printing money on the App Store, then that makes
Sure.
sense for everyone. I'm just trying to figure out who the customer is for that, but that's another story.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to care about that necessarily. You know.
Yeah, this this blurb is interesting. They said we made an engine called the Vampire Survivor engine, which is a kind of template with all the Vampire Survivor juice in it, and then we're giving it to people that we consider the IP guardians.
Hmm.
That's
Okay.
neat. That's really neat. Yeah. So honestly, I think I think that because I wondered a lot, right? Like when the game was really blowing up, and then in the months after, when they or really years after, when they were doing all the DLC, I was like, they're probably not going to try to milk this cow forever. So like, and they actually say in this article, like, we want to close the door on that chapter,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
which is great. I love that they're not like, we're gonna, do this forever. Like, if you're gonna do different types of things with it, cool. But like, I think what they're saying is they want to close the door on that game, that
Man,
one game.
there is a Fortnite-ification of Vampire Survivors that they flirted with, and I think they could do, but it sounds like they're not doing it. Meaning, it's Vampire Survivors, you already own it, but hey, here's the what'd they do? It was Contra. Here's the Contra DLC. Here's the
Right.
Star Wars DLC. And then you instead of, I think they know what they're doing. There's clearly reasons why they're going the other way with this, but
Yeah.
Instead of selling your engine out to others, could you bring IP into your thing? And they're clearly not choosing that, and I think that's makes sense. But I don't know. There's a lot of money on the table here that could be
For
had.
sure. Well, and I really like this part when they asked about the opening the studios.
Mm-hmm.
So Sapio said, we're not talking about a gigantic remote studio. It's like a federation of studios. Our idea is to have little teams, like 5, 10, 15, working on different projects. The structure will be like a designer, a bunch of producers, and this little team that's like agile and flexible, because the indie spirit is freedom and taking risk with ideas. We don't want to be AAA or even AA. We're efficient with costs. We invest in people. So with 15 projects, one can fail, one can go good, and you balance that.
Yes.
And I'm like,
This is the
I like that a
model.
lot.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
this is the sort of incubation model that, I mean, we've talked about it here a lot, where it's like, why are the Microsofts and Activisions and Blizzards and whatever of the world, Square Enixes of the world, they're being like, okay, we're gonna spend $300 million on this game, and it's an IP or it's a sequel or it's a whatever, and if this game does not fucking go bananas, we are out of business and we are laying everyone off.
And we're seeing that. We see all these people get laid off all of the time because, some company went all in, some developer went all in, and, whatever the IP was, it didn't work.
And Microsoft and Sony have acquired many little to medium-sized studios.
Yeah.
And instead of doing this Poncle model where it's like, all right, everyone try a little something, everyone make a little something, and if we make 10 games in 2026 and one of them hits, we pay the bills and we go on to 2027. But instead, it's like, everyone gather around and make this one big game, and if it doesn't hit the mark, well, guess what? We're closing Bluepoint and we're closing this and we're shuttering, we're laying off this. Yeah, I mean, the answer is shareholders, obviously, but like, why just slow down to like medium growth? You know what I mean?
I think that is a great idea, but also really hard for huge companies to consider doing because they're operating on a certain level, and they do have a lot of people to answer to, as you just said. And I just don't think it's a great idea. I just don't think companies like Microsoft know how to do it. That said, which I'm sure you already saw, Microsoft did announce that they were cutting the Game Pass price significantly this week, which I think is very interesting move. We'll see how that goes. But, I think there are certain small ways in which a company might be like, a big company might be like, we made a mistake.
Yes.
But yeah, I just think it's very challenging for certain size companies to back up.
I'm encouraged to see that Xbox is like, look, we misread the market. We misunderstood what customers and the landscape is like right now. And we are reconfiguring our offerings. We are releasing and we are working on the next console, which is Helix or whatever that will be actually called. And we're acknowledging that Game Pass was too too expensive in a landscape where every fucking subscription. Again, I've said it here. Offering me thousands of movies and hundreds of games for $20 is a good value.
Sure.
It's a very good value, full stop. But it starts to be too much when I want to watch, Lord of the Rings, and I also want to watch Star Wars, but I have to pay $20 twice just to get those two things because they're on separate services.
Right.
And that's where customers are like, $30 for Game Pass? How could I do that? Even though it is still a great value. So it's just a fascinating media time right now.
Truly, it really is. And it's interesting too, because I had noticed, I think I was still working in finance at the time, but I had noticed that a big cereal company, I can't remember if it was Kellogg's or General Mills, it was one of them, but they were like, oh no, wait, it wasn't a cereal company. It was, who makes Doritos?
Is it Pepsi brands or whatever? That would be my guess. Well, I forget what they're called.
I'm just Googling because
it's Pepsi that owns Taco Bell and all those fast food, but they also own the chip brands. Is that accurate?
Correct. So they made an announcement, I think it was actually last year, that they were going to lower the prices of like several of the really big like snack brands that you buy. And I thought that was interesting. And I noticed it because I had said to my husband in passing, like, it's like $7 for like a bag of Funyuns. Like, what the hell? Like, I know I'm old and I know that prices change, but that's just a lot of money. And so apparently that was a complaint that they were getting en masse, and they were seeing it in the form of sales dropping for like significant drops for like these,
I think there's another factor to this equation, which probably has been covered or discussed in the coverage of this. But are you saying that it's just the price sensitivity, or because I think there's the other factor here?
I think there's a lot of factors, but
there's a lot of factors. It was Scott Galloway who does he's a professor and he's like an investor guy. And I really don't listen to a lot of those sorts of podcasts, but I like him a lot. He does a podcast with Kara Swisher, and I don't listen often, but when my wife sends me some stuff, I'm like, yeah, he really, I think knows what he's talking about. But when GLP-1s like Ozempic and the like started to become mainstream, he made this prediction that blew my mind. It was like, this is going to devastate the junk food industry because, depending on what you or listeners understand about these things, like they just turn the part of your brain that wants Doritos off, and then you stop buying them and eating them.
Yes, they also make you nauseous.
Yeah. I mean, this is a vast oversimplification, but the point is that we have created a food society where it's very hard to get nutritious groceries, but it's very easy to just go into 7-Eleven and buy dog shit. Yep. And now that we are basically prescribing GLP-1s to anyone who medically needs them, which is great, the paradigm for junk food is shifting right in front of our eyes, and it's fucking awesome. But I think that if I were in charge of Pepsi brands, I'd be like, we gotta fucking turn this ship around now. And I think that's probably what's going on there.
That makes a ton of sense, and I think you're right. I think that the economic piece is probably in there, but I think this is a much bigger piece.
And also $7 for a bag of Funyuns in this economy. What the fuck?
I mean, honestly, like, we don't buy a lot of like those types of snacks in our house, but like we might buy them as a treat every once in a great while if they didn't cost $7 for like a bag. A bag that's shrunk over the past 20 years anyway. It's like, and then you open the bag and you're like, it's half full, neat. Like
exactly.
It's just
half full of Funyuns, which are mostly air anyway. Right. But let me also be clear, friends. Funyuns fucking rule, okay? I'll do Funyuns any day of the week. But yes, I think our relationship with high fructose corn syrup injected ultra processed foods is rapidly evolving, and hopefully for the better. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be nice. I'd like to never have a craving for those,
Yeah.
personally, but
Yep.
they're engineered to make me addicted just like everyone else. So
Yes, that's also yeah, yeah, yeah. I work with a gastroenterologist who is a client of mine, and he's great, and we're he's very well known. And every time I work on a video or a podcast with him, I'm like, yeah, I can never eat any of this shit again. Like
mm-mm.
basically, it's the short version is like, yeah, all this stuff gives you colon cancer and shortens your lifespan. And if you don't eat fruits and vegetables, and it's not just like, oh, fruits and vegetables are healthy. It's like, no, no, no. Your gut literally has organisms in there that are like, if we do not get these nutrients, we die, and then that fucks up your whole
Correct.
body, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
All correct.
Yeah. Anyway, I live in that world now, and so constipation
it's good to live in that world. It's
and
good to
fart
be aware.
videos. Yeah, I make my
I don't
living
think
from
we really
from fart
talk about
videos
that
now.
stuff enough.
No, it's a growing like world on the internet, but as usual, I think there are reputable scientists and doctors, and also a lot of TikTok bullshit that's like, you should do this, and people
an
are
army
like,
of social media
okay.
people that I'm just like, fuck all y'all.
Yeah, yeah.
All
right. What we got far afield, but were there any other tidbits here from the Poncle stuff?
I don't think so. I think that is the majority of what, as a fan, I wanted to know, but I am very interested to see what they do next. I mean, I'll talk about it when I get to the games portion of the show. I'll talk about what I think is interesting about crawlers now that I've seen more of it. But viva la Poncle.
Viva, God bless Poncle, protect them at all costs. It makes me wonder if Crawlers is made in the same game engine as Survivors. You know what I mean?
It is
or if
not.
It's not,
it
right?
Is not. Okay. They actually worked with another company, which they mentioned in this article somewhere. Okay. They worked with another company to make this game. So cool. It is not the proprietary engine.
I find that stuff interesting. In a world where so much game development is like, hey, buy a license for Unreal and then make your game in this off-the-shelf thing, which is awesome. And it's a good way to, from a production or technology standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. But and Nintendo does this too. Like often Nintendo just makes their own shit. Like the Super Mario Brothers do not run in Unreal or Godot. They're running in some proprietary thing that nobody knows what it is or how it works.
That's true.
It's fascinating.
Right. They don't ever talk about that, do they?
They never talk about it. I'm sure people know what's going on, but you never hear about that stuff. They're very guarded, I think, about a lot of that.
I'm going to Google that. Speaking of Nintendo, they have a problem, a fancy new problem, which I'm not surprised to see. And I think we'll see this problem in plenty of places, but I just noticed because it happens to be in games, that only two, but this was originally posted on Aftermath, our friend Luke Plunkett's site. And this basically, they obtained a filing for two Nintendo customers that filed a class action complaint in the District of Washington on Tuesday. And the reason they filed the complaint is because Nintendo, like many other large-scale companies, paid a bunch of money in tariffs and then passed the extra spend down to consumers. And now there will be tariff refunds. If you're following the news, you know why I'm not getting into that. And Nintendo, like many other big companies,
briefly, just to put a pin on it, the Supreme Court said no, these tariffs are not legal. Correct. And so now they are apparently some/most are being reversed. And we are not legal experts. I don't fully understand if that is ironclad. Is that a forever change, or are we ping-ponging back and forth? I don't know, but
I don't know for sure either, although I think it is a forever change.
I hope.
I know that there are already. So Nintendo filed a lawsuit in March against the government for a tariff refund after the tariffs were ruled unconstitutional. And thousands of companies did that. Like there's nothing super unique about that. Now, some companies, FedEx and UPS were two of them, clearly said, we will make sure that some of the tariff refund is passed down to customers. Right. How exactly it would be passed down, not clarified. That's like probably way too far out. Right. But a lot of other companies have not said anything or made any kind of announcement about that. And, some customers are pissed about that because they're like, this is bullshit. So these two people are suing Nintendo because they want their money. A blurb from the complaint. In practical terms, Nintendo stands to receive a windfall. It has already recouped tariff costs from consumers through higher prices, and it now stands in line to recover the same unlawful tariff payments from the federal government.
Right.
I mean, I personally think that suing Nintendo is like trying to fight God. Like, with your fists in a parking lot. Like, I just don't think there's any hope here for
any
them.
large company. Well, but like, okay. So I'm trying to understand this too. Tariffs made prices on a game controller more expensive. We paid the price to Nintendo, which Correct. Also paid the price because they didn't pay the price, but I'm saying, this is
they
complicated
paid some
because
portion of the price. Like,
who knows how much they paid? Well, this is a great question, actually. Nintendo raises the price on a video game controller. How much of that raise for the customer is paid by the customer, and how much is absorbed by Nintendo to keep the prices at some sort of sane level? I don't know.
That is just information that we're not going to be able to find.
We may never know.
I mean, other than some, independent people who would be like, we're taking this amount on and this is what we have to pass on.
Or some supply chain leakers or something. Yeah. So then the Supreme Court says, wait a minute, those tariffs are not legal. So then the U.S. government, which collected the tariffs, gives the money back to Nintendo because that was the Correct. Point of sale, and then Nintendo should give that, whatever that portion is, back to the customers. Which, I'm not a businessman, but my understanding is that dispersing money back to the public is so fucking hard to do. Not because it's like, how do you find every human being who bought some shit in a Walmart and send them $2? Like,
but that happens all the time. And this is what happens when a class action settlement gets greenlit.
Think of how much effort it takes you to claim $2 from a class action lawsuit.
And there have been many times where I've been like, I'm not doing this. Like,
it's not worth it.
When Anthropic did the big scrape on people's books, my book actually was not included in that scrape. Mine was in a meta scrape, and that has not been addressed yet. But the Anthropic scrape had a settlement attached to it, which, if my book had been in that, I could have made a claim for $7,000. That I would have been super okay with, but my book's not in that scrape.
No way.
Yeah.
$7,000 for any author? For any scraped? Wow.
Any author that came up there's a LibGen, it's called LibGen. It's like a way you can search to see if you were in there, if your stuff has been scraped and by whom. And yes, so like that is pretty lucrative. But yes, the majority of settlements are like, here's a year of, free VPN, or here's and it's like, okay, whatever, that's fine. I did not buy many, if any, Nintendo products in the last year. I think I didn't buy a new Switch, didn't buy a lot of games.
Yeah, so man, I wonder
would not even be included if this got to the point where it passed and then they're like, okay, we're going to settle. Yes, people, like, for instance, if you bought a Switch,
I wonder if the Switch 2 is part of this. Anyway, we're getting into the weeds, which I don't mind doing.
It absolutely would be part of it because the price went up. Did it not?
Well, the launch price was $450, and that included the Mario Kart World game.
So it would not include that because not the game, but you would not be included because you bought it at the original.
I bought it before the price increase. I think you're right.
But if the price increased, that window would be the people who would get a portion of the settlement.
Yes. But my point / question is like, the Supreme Court, this is all happening very quickly. The Supreme Court literally I don't know when this decision came down, but it's like within the last month or so, I think, right? We'll look that up. But
I think
basically,
it's been a little longer.
a little longer. So I guess my question is like, Trump declares as an emperor, we're doing this. And then the legal system is like, well, you're in it. You're a fuck up, fucking demented idiot. This is actually not a thing. So whoop, reverse that. And then basically in 1 second, these two classes or individuals are like, Nintendo's not giving me my money back. I'm suing or I'm levying a complaint or whatever. It's like, okay, I'm not defending Nintendo, but I'm just like, it takes a minute to like figure out where all this money is. And
It does.
has the government given the money to Nintendo yet in a month?
I have
fucking no way.
I don't know. And I don't know how much of that would even be reported. Like,
Right.
Refunds have begun for major companies. Like, it's like,
well, great headline. Yeah.
that head is not going anywhere. So, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I do think, hold on, let's see when this happened, because I do think that it has been long enough that if a company was going to, February 20th, 2026.
Okay.
We are now just over 2 months out from that happening. So
From
by
the Supreme
now,
Court
if a
decision.
company, correct. So if a company was planning to give consumers money back, I think most of them would have said it by now.
There is, I mean, saying it publicly is one thing, and that's good and important to do. But I guess what I'm trying to understand is like, there is no way on earth that the United States government has gathered all these illegal funds and sent them back to the thousands of companies that they have wronged in a 2-month period.
In 2 months. No, you're totally right.
So that then those companies can reimburse their customers. That's
correct.
Not a thing. So I appreciate these lawsuits, and I think we as a society should continue to be vigilant against corporations who are going to be like, oh yeah, the tariffs. Well, anyway, buy our new shit. Like, they're not going to give many companies are not going to give the money back.
Okay, wait, I lied. Because I just Googled it. I wanted to know. 2 days ago, CNN wrote a story titled "The Tariff Refund Process is Finally Kicking Off."
Okay.
So there is stuff in there about it. Okay. I clicked it and it is a very bright white screen, and I'm trying not to jump too deep into that.
Fine. But does that mean that the U.S. government is beginning to reimburse companies, or that companies are beginning to reimburse customers?
Well, I'm going to use the AI overview for this, so let's just remember that could be wrong.
How dare you?
Tariff refunds for eligible IEEPA related duties are expected to take 60 to 90 days to process once a claim is accepted. Okay. Wait. Hold on. This is going to make my face white for a minute, and then it'll be in reading mode, and it won't. Okay. So...
And while you're searching, I will just say the thing that everyone listening to this is thinking of, like, what a fucking waste of time all this shit is. Like, what? Think of all the fucking middlemen and banks and transactions and friction that all this money that was supposed to be like, oh, we're making the US better by collecting these and now we're just being like, oh, actually, that was so fucking stupid and illegal. So now it's on us to fucking chase down all of our receipts to get this fucking money back. There's way more horrific things that this administration is doing, but like, also fuck right off with all of this. Yep. What a fuck. You're just wasting everyone's time and money.
But this was all about, and I think everything he does really is about that. It's all about like the Trump show. You know what I mean? Like, his presidency is just another episode of a reality show as far as I'm concerned. And I mean, it's like the most horrific reality show of all time, but that's how I feel about it. Like, when he did this, I was just like, how do I put this? I am not financially savvy enough to understand all of the ins and outs of what enforcing tariffs would do, but I could never
Right.
see any point at which they would be advantageous to our country. And most
If
of what
we
he does, and he
manufactured
swears,
electronics and microchips in the US today, then maybe it would give US companies a competitive advantage over foreign manufacturers. But we don't do that, you fucking idiot. So all it does is make everything more expensive. Anyway,
hooray.
did you get to the bottom of it, or shall we?
It's not really focusing on what I want to know. TLDR,
Yeah.
it's supposed to happen, but I want to move on because I want to be conscious of time, and also I think the next thing we talk about could be different by the time the podcast is published.
Yes,
but I
that's
do
true.
think we should talk about it.
Yep.
So Matt brought this one up to me, and it is from PC Guide, who published a story that the Steam controller is one step closer to launch after Valve teased an unboxing video. Now, to clarify, because that is a very misleading headline as well.
Yes, it is.
Valve did not publish an unboxing video. What happened is that a leaker found via SteamDB a video that Valve did upload that's titled Steam underscore controller underscore unboxing underscore 2026. You can't view the video. It just exists. Someone saw it.
Yes.
But
I don't know that this was leaked. And I also want to just clarify that, like,
well, someone found it is my point. Like,
that's what,
like,
yeah,
and
they
they're like, oh, this means something, you know?
Two things about this briefly. One, I couldn't really find like a major reputable site. I wonder if GameSpot picked it up, or if Kotaku or
no one talked
IGN.
about it at
No
work
one talked
today.
about it. So again, I don't know PCGuide.com and the other websites that were surfacing on Google News or whatever. I do not recognize any of them. So this is a fully grain of salt moment, but I'm bringing it up because as we know, Steam is somewhat porous in its data architecture, which means like we know you can log in to, you can look at statistics about Steam and where patch files are and what the build numbers are of your favorite games, or how many players are playing on Steam at any given time. And I think I just continue to think that it's very cool that Valve is like, yeah, like we're a private company and we hold our secrets and we do our due diligence, but like you're allowed to peek behind the curtain and see what's going on when developers put games onto our servers.
Sure.
And part of that, what seems to be happening here, is that someone just kind of poked around in the back end, or not the back end, but through the API, which is somewhat open, of Steam, and noticed that Valve itself uploaded this video, which, as you said, is Steam Controller Unboxing 2026. But we can't see the data of the video. We're just seeing a log that's like, oh, this file has been uploaded.
Right. Yeah.
So, look.
There's a couple of leaker things that are connected to it. And once again, you know, like they mentioned one highly reliable leaker who's like been right a bunch, named Brad Lynch, around data mined Steam content, saying that he thinks the launch is happening very soon, of the controller specifically.
Right.
So once again, grain of salt, like you said. But I do think that it's not just a errant piece of news. It correlates with a couple of other things about the controller.
I guess my thought there is like, we can upload the Steam controller is known and will come out. So someone could add an asset to a database to be like, hey, in September that we're going to launch the Steam controller, but I'm going to upload the video now so it's in place so other people can look at it or whatever.
That's fair.
So does this mean it will come out tomorrow? We don't know, but then to your point, other leakers are kind of poking at this and being like, well, we have other information indicating that it is imminent. The launch is imminent. So for all we know, you're listening to our voices now, and you already have the Steam controller in your hand.
Well, I probably wouldn't get there that fast.
No, I know.
But
But hey, here's hoping, because it is probably the number one consumer electronic that I want to own
For
right
sure.
now.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. So we'll see. I would love it to be the case that by the time the podcast comes out, that's the announcement. But I will also say that while I want the controller, that's the least of the items I want from the
Yeah.
announcement that they made.
Right, I know.
I am still holding out, desperate hope for the Steam machine. So that is my dream.
I am very pro Steam Machine, and I'm very excited about it. But we are now living in a multi Steam Deck home in a household where I have my PC wired to the televisions, and so I continue to
Would you
be very
need it anymore?
What's that?
Would you need it anymore?
Like,
couldn't you just get like a dock and deck either of your Steam Decks?
Yeah, I've docked my son's. Fun
Do you guys
fact,
have the official dock, by the way?
This is a great question. That is
okay.
a little side story here. I am very disappointed to learn that the official dock is so precisely molded to the naked Steam Deck that even a slight case, even like a millimeter of case on your dock, causes it to not sit snugly in the dock, and it just kind of like flops forward. I also couldn't get the USB on the official dock to stick into the port because the case adds a teeny millimeter or two of depth, and so the dock could not reliably plug into the Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck could not reliably sit in the dock. And this is a Steam Deck that is owned by a 10-year-old, so there ain't no way that I am taking the screen and the case and screen protector off of this thing.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
So I had to return the dock, and good guy Valve, as usual, I sent a request, and I was like, hey, I love the Steam Deck. We own two. I bought this for my son. I've been a Steam customer for 1,000 years. Love the dock. Can't use it. What can we do?
Yeah.
They were like, all right, we'll do an RMA. Send it back. I just got the refund, actually.
Nice.
Which means I have $80 worth of Steam wallet credit. What am I going to do with that?
That's interesting because I just thought about it and I realized our deck doesn't have a case on it, but we're older, so we're playing it in very limited kind of circumstances, sitting on a sofa or whatever. We do have a dock. It is, and now I'm wondering if that's the case with the dock we have too. It's not the official dock though.
Yeah.
So I'll have to try that and see if
I'm very satisfied with the JSOX dock that I got from Amazon. It was half the price of the official dock, and works
it fits
great.
with his
fits
case
great
on
because it has an extra space for the pocket. It's a bummer of an oversight on Valve's part for as wonderful as the Steam Deck is. It's kind of a miss on the hardware side for them. But anyway.
Interesting.
My point.
I wonder if their thought was that not a lot of children would use it.
Yeah, I or that it's like, we want this product to fit perfectly with what we've made to be a perfect. But
what if you
system.
just like cases and you want to put a fun case on your Steam Deck?
Even the Switch and Switch 2 will fit in the dock with a medium case on it. You know what I mean? So it is a strange design choice that they made, but I digress. And the moral of this story is that through many years of sort of customization and trickery, I'm a very satisfied sort of like boop boop, switch my computer to the living room, and now I'm playing Steam in the living room. I really have very minimal drama with that. And also now my son is docked using Steam downstairs, and he's having a blast. So in a world where we just spent like a fucking stupid amount of money to replace our air conditioners last weekend.
Oh God! I'm sorry. I know how much that costs.
Whatever. It had to be done. They were old. I'm now looking as the prime customer of the Steam machine. I'm kind of like, am I going to pay $1,000 to basically do exactly what I already do?
I mean, in your situation, that just wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
In my situation, we have other spaces that are not. Although I have to admit, it does make me think like, well, what would really be stopping me from, streaming it, docking my own Steam Deck, for instance? I mean, I guess it's stuff like, well, what if I want to play a really graphically demanding game, which doesn't
That's
happen
what I'm getting
often.
at. The Steam Deck is not powerful enough to play the demanding games that are coming out now and tomorrow. It's just like my son and I we're playing Arc Raiders together. He's playing
Mhm.
other heavier games, and it's serviceable, but I do not want to play Arc Raiders on low settings at 30 frames. Like,
Right.
he's getting the
Right.
job done, but it's not a good experience. Not to my taste. So
Yeah.
my point
That would
is
be the
that,
one reason for me.
yes, this box is supposedly going to be very powerful, and it's
Mhm.
going to get the job done as a console experience. I expect it to be an awesome product that I want, but I already have a solution for how do I play demanding games on a television, and it's a 3070 in this computer that I'm sitting in front of right now,
Fair.
and it's great. But I have cobbled together a system over a number of years. So I guess what I'm saying is the Steam machine is coming out a little bit too late for my like gaming lifestyle.
Sure.
But for your situation, I think it's a no brainer as long as it makes sense financially. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yes, actually, it's really great that they delayed it because I'm like, I can be
Right.
financially ready once this happens,
Exactly. Yep.
whatever the hell it costs. But
And also, you can. I think you're going to need a Steam machine for market research purposes
exactly.
for e-commerce, because you're going to want to make sure you're selling the right accessories. So I think what I'm sniffing here is that this is a business expense for you. I think
I think you're right. I
it's a
think I can
tax
write it
write-off.
off.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, I bought a computer last year, which we are recording on right now, and I
Yep.
will definitely be writing that off. So,
And as everyone listening to this knows, when you buy something that's a tax write-off, it's free, right? That's my
correct.
understanding. Okay, got it.
Yes,
Yeah. It costs you $0 because it's for business.
exactly.
And business, as we know, businesses pay no money for anything.
Correct.
Let's talk about video games. Vampire Crawlers is out as of yesterday, and you have put I'm going to just say it, a ridiculous amount of time into day one of
Well,
this
I
game.
mean, I guess a ridiculous amount of time would be like 20 hours, which there are certainly some people
20
in the
out of 24
comments.
hours.
There are people in the comments that are like 12.6 hours, 20 point, and I'm like, damn, that's a lot. So far, I have played 3.8 hours, all of which were gotten last night. I
Nice.
think that I could be further by now, but and I think I've talked about this condition on the pod before, where like if I'm away from a game too long and I can't just start where I left off, I have to
Yep.
start the whole game over again. So even though this is not like a story heavy or even has really a story at all game, I was like, I just want to start from scratch. Like I tried to get into
It's a mechanically
yeah,
dense game, and
yes,
I don't mean to divert you here, but there was a fundamental mechanic of the demo that I completely missed because I just kind of like pressed A on a menu and missed the combo
was it about the
system.
combos?
Correct. And
That's
now
one
that
of the
I'm
other reasons I wanted to start again.
exactly, and now that I'm starting over on Switch, I now see that the game did show me how it works, but I missed it in the demo.
And it's
And so
super
I'm happy
simple.
to be. It's super simple, but
You got to
I'm
know
happy to
it.
be starting over now too, as well. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think it was the right thing to do. So wait. So you got it on the Switch last night? Did
I
you
got it
play
on Switch
too,
because
or not? Or were you
I
playing
did
Windrose?
play maybe like 30, 40 minutes of it just to
Okay,
get
a little bit, the beginning.
get the gold flowing and the experience flowing. And I bought it on. I was looking at the release and I was like, is this coming to mobile? And it is, but it's not out yet, and there's no release date for mobile. It's like 2026. So I was like, okay, I think mobile is probably where me and my family will go hard on
Enjoy
this.
it the most. I
But
tell you what,
while,
though, I feel like Vampire Survivors was so good on the Steam Deck. This is going to be a perfect
totally.
Steam Deck game.
It is a great controller experience. But the point is, I wanted everyone in the family to have access to this game because
Sure.
I have a hunch, as Vampire Survivor superfans, that when I can convince them to start playing, they will go hard on it. So I wanted it to be available to everyone.
Well, I know when we first talked about playing the demo, we talked about like we were very curious about mechanics because
Yep.
when you start, it's super simple. You have a very small amount of cards. And at first, to me, as I said on the prior podcast when we talked about the demo, it just kind of felt like you could just blow all the cards out of your hand
Yep.
and get through fights. And I was like, well, that's cool, but also it's not really challenging. So how does that work,
Right.
later down the line? And I'm definitely pleased to report that I've played 3.8 hours. So by the probably 3.5 hour mark, your hand is getting much more full.
Yep.
You are doing much more customizing with the gems you find and putting those in the card. So that's a
Yeah,
lot of
totally.
fun.
I love that part of it, by the way, because
Yeah, I do too.
that
It's just
is
great.
that's the Vampire Survivors moment where it's like, oh, I have this weapon and I have this weapon, cool, cool, cool. But when I level this up in this particular synergistic way, it's like, whoa, now I'm like obliterating enemies, and that's exactly what's
Yes.
happening here, but in a deck builder, and it's really fun.
Totally. And like I will say that at the point I got to, I wasn't obliterating enemies, but I had just started to get also you get evolutions just like the original
Yes,
game. They just work a
right.
little bit different, but you get
Hmm.
them. And I had like unlocked my first couple of evolutions and had my first couple like few like oh shit, I just
Yeah,
blasted those guys off
totally.
the map. That was
That's great.
awesome. Um do I think the dopamine is as high of a blast for me as it was with the original? No,
I get
but
it.
do I find it very pleasant and fun to play? And like the kind of thing where you can fall in for hours, I do.
Yep.
I'm super curious to get further though,
Yep.
because last night I hit a point where I was in an area and I would run out of health before being able to complete the area.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, what do I do? And Patrick was like, ooh, well, maybe you have to go back to prior areas and grind a little bit to get a little bit
Okay.
more. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So,
Can you go backwards?
mhm.
Wait. Oh, sorry. To clarify, when you enter a level, my early understanding is that there are 4 levels.
At least in that beginning part. Yeah, those
Yes.
first
So
few.
when you say
Yeah.
go back, do you mean go back to a previous level, or does that mean go back and grind the earlier world? Let's do it Super
The
Mario
world.
style. A world is the forest and the library, but a level is the
Correct.
individual levels of each one.
So if
Yeah.
you go back on your map, you can re-enter the library
Yes.
and you'll start at that beginning again. So
Yeah.
you'll have
Okay.
to go 1, 2,
Yeah. I
3,
mean
4 and dig down.
that is
But
because
you
there's meta
can
progression.
yeah. So I mean you're still like so I was like, "Oh." And then I thought, "Oh, did I fight everything?" And then I
Hmm.
realized something really interesting and I don't know if this was in the demo, but I don't think it was.
Hmm.
So the first time you go through an area, say it's the Mad Forest or whatnot, you go down your levels, you're done, whatever. But then when you go back, you'll see like a second, like it's like it'll say like 1 and then it shows you past that. And then
Yeah.
underneath that, there's a 2 and it
Okay.
has a little exclamation mark and a red circle next to it. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, what's this?
Hmm.
It's a little harder than
Ah.
the first time you go through it.
Okay.
So I went and played that. And also, if I'm not mistaken, I think it had more than 4 levels to dig down. I think it had 5
I
or
was
6.
wondering about that. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. So I did that. And then I was like, okay, I've gained some more points to use. I've unlocked some more folks to help me,
Right.
whatever. Now I'm going to save. So I
Mhm.
didn't go back to try that area that I was stuck on. So I'm going to do that after we're
Right.
done here and just to see, because I'm curious, like, okay, did I level up enough? It does definitely give you, because like I thought you were just going through an area and that's it. You were moving on after you had been through an area once, but that's
I mean,
actually not the
it
case.
maps the format of the game maps so closely to the like level format of Vampire Survivors, which is
Mhm.
like I am going back to the easy zone in order to achieve a goal, like kill 500 skeletons with the magic wand, and then by doing so
Right.
you unlock something else and you acquire gold, which lets you improve your health or your area AoE or something in the meta progression. And so again, it is doing all that Vampire Survivors sort of one more run dopamine meta progression roguelike stuff, which is grind earlier levels to unlock new stuff, to create new synergies, to level up your thing, so that you can then go back into the harder zones to do the other 16,000 things that you need to unlock. And therefore, this is the Vampire Survivors, Monster Hunter, whatever you want to call it, loop of grind for grind's sake, to do harder grinds in order to grind for the harder grind, to grind the harder
Yep.
grinds.
Yep.
And it's great. It's fucking great.
Exactly. So, yeah, really great fun so far. Very interested to see what happens when I get to the point where I have like 30 cards in my hand. Because like
Yes.
one thing that I noticed on the Steam page is that they actually say in the description, like, you get to choose how you want to play it. You can be super strategic if you want, and you can make sure you're always doing your combos in mana order. But you can also completely say fuck all that and hit the X button and just blast everything you got in your hand if you so desire.
So I actually have a question that you may or may not know the answer to. If you do that, if you press X, does it automatically play the cards in the correct sequence to maximize your combo? Does it auto min max it for you, or does it just play them in a random order? Yeah.
I didn't use the button last night. I was strategically stacking my combos.
As a min max person, whatever you want to call it, I was like, I don't trust this fucking button to do the most damage.
I don't either. I mean, like in the very beginning, I tried it a few times just because I saw the prompt. And I was like, okay, but does that auto sort it for me? And I don't think it does. But I'll look again tonight to answer that question. I kind of hope
it doesn't, because that's the difference between like, oh, these enemies are so easy, it doesn't matter what I do, X. Oh, this might be a moderate challenge, so I actually do need to play the cards in sequence, and that's on me. I don't really want an auto thing to do that for me. I want there to be a difference between those two things.
Yeah, because I mean, then you're really just pressing one button to get through the entire game, which doesn't make that much sense to me. So that would be really interesting to like actually know, like, does this really happen?
I'm sure many people have already decoded this on the internet.
Yes, we could probably just Google and find.
I would like to know the answer to this. Yeah,
but yeah, I had a really good time playing last night. As we all know, I have been on the Resident Evil playthrough, so I'm now playing Resident Evil 4. But sometimes I don't want to do another mob of zombies, and I just want to play something a little different. And I knew this would be very different. One thing I thought was really interesting was that a lot of folks reviewing it, I noticed, said, I think it surpasses the first game.
In terms of like depth or complexity or whatever?
Like one person said like the depth and creativity, I really like that there are multiple reviews to Crack. A new flavor of Crack got released. If Crack was a game, this would be it. Heroin 2 would just invent it. It's like Heroin 1, except it's slower and a bit more strategic.
Yes. I mean, that is precisely what this game is. It is the same, how to put this? It is the same like loop, and it is the same satisfaction loop as Vampire Survivors, but it is slightly slower and more methodical, more tactical, as this reviewer has said. And I like that balance. I think that's what I want.
Actually, to go back to the first story that we talked about in the news about Poncle's future, they said one thing that really stuck out to me, and I related to it instantly. They said, we think deck builders are really interesting, but we have trouble understanding them, and sometimes the strategy is just a lot. And so we made the game we wanted.
Totally.
Which is a deck builder that I feel like you do not have to be a deck builder person to really get into.
We said this.
I'm honestly not. Like, I am not a deep deck builder strategy person.
Right.
It's the reason why I haven't really gotten into Slay the Spire, to be honest, because I'm just like, I don't know if that's for me, but this works for me. And I do think they made it simple enough to digest, but not so simple that it's boring.
I think we talked about this when we were both playing the demo, but I think this is the gateway drug for deck builders. I think this is going to turn people on to the genre who probably wouldn't have ventured into these waters previously.
That'll be
because
really interesting to see.
I think and to your point is like the accessibility of it, I think allows non deck people to be like, oh, this synergizes with this. And if I play this in this order and I use this first, and then this is this, then I'm getting the dopamine mega damage. And I think once you unlock that part of your brain, then you start looking over at Pokemon or Magic or Slay the Spire, and you're like, man, I could do that there too. You know what I mean?
I guess you're right. I mean, I have been told that Slay the Spire is absolutely like very welcoming to people who are not
I
necessarily
think
deck
it
builder
is. I
people.
think that it is. Yeah.
Patrick played it a ton. Like we have it, and we don't have the sequel yet, but
Mhm.
um, I've thought about it. But yeah, I do get intimidated sometimes by just feeling like I don't know if the card builder is for me.
Yep.
But
Did you
yeah,
tell me that you used to play Magic back in the day?
1,000 billion years ago when there was like one set. Like
Yeah.
like I played the first original set and then like the first like 4 or 5 expansions after, and it was
Right.
such a simple game then, and I think that
Really?
appealed to me. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, it could become more complex, but nowhere near as complex as it got later
I guess, yeah. I
down
guess
the line.
like I love it because it's like these are the core mechanics, and lots of sort of systems and things are layered on top, but the core of the game is mostly unchanged as I perceive it through the decades. Meaning, um, hey, this card adds, I don't know, bloom to your islands or something, and it's like, what the fuck is that? And then you just have to look that up to understand, but to understand what that new thing is. But the point is, islands still work the same. Islands still give
They
you blue
do.
mana, you know?
It's just that like you can get to a point where it's like I have 5 creatures on the board, and each creature has 7 modifications, and
Yeah,
those
yeah,
modifications do 27
exactly.
different things. And I
Yes.
also have 6 different colored tokens, and all of those represent a different thing. And I'm like, fuck this. Like, I just wanted to play a regular old blue-white Sarah Angel deck. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
can we please just have it simple?
But
But I
that's
mean,
and that's where the video game version arena is the way that it is the way I learned how to play, because it like D&D, like Baldur's Gate does for D&D. It's like, I don't know what fucking dice to use, but it just does that for me because I'm pressing attack now, It's not one to one, but you know what I
yeah, I
mean? It
mean,
does the math and the tokens and the counters for you so that you can focus on like, what am I doing here?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. To be honest, sometimes I think it's a part of me that's like, well, in my day, things were really simple and they made it complicated for no reason. And like, it does feel a little like that. But I also have to admit that I really like simplicity in a lot of my
Sure.
games. Like,
Yes.
one might say, like, well, like a game like Hades, to me, it is at heart, it is like the fighting anyway is like a base Nintendo game. Like
Yep.
it is like you're not trying to use 15 buttons, you're using like 4. And I get overwhelmed when I play games where I have to remember the full button map on a modern controller. I'm like, I
Yes.
can't remember all this. Now, I mean, if you're playing long enough, it obviously comes to you. Like I'm playing Resident Evil and I'm using
Right.
plenty of buttons,
Yeah, yeah.
but sometimes I don't like that.
That I'm very fascinated by this because I think there are a lot of games that are very complex from a like button mechanics point of view, but once you get on the bicycle, it is you can turn your brain off and listen to a podcast. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
for me, the poster child for this is Monster Hunter, which is like, when you look at the tutorials in Monster Hunter, you're like, oh, pick a weapon. And it's like, okay, for this, you're doing an overhand backslash. And then if you press B at the moment of the backslash, then you're doing an upward thrust. And then if you're on top of the monster, you're doing these 7 buttons to do that. And I think if you're new to the thing and you're looking at the tutorial, you're like, what the fuck is this? But then
Yeah.
when you start to understand the rhythm of the game, now, when I play it and I play Insect Glaive, which is one of the more weird weapons, I'm just like, whatever, man. It's like it is like we're playing piano or riding a bicycle, and I'm just listening to a podcast, smashing away.
I think one thing that really helps me with this, and most games do this to be honest, is when they introduce one button at a time. When they're like, this
Yeah.
is your attack, this is your jump, this is your
For sure.
dodge. And like they're not all in a row. It's like they kind of let you use the mechanic a little and then they introduce the next one.
That is the best tutorialization.
I agree. Because when
design.
It's like throws it all at you at the same time, it's harder for me. But yes, I agree with you. And there's probably more games than I think that I use many buttons and don't think about it.
But I think Hades is a great example because it uses the vocabulary of hack and slash action games that we have played bajillions of very well. But I think if, my wife picked up Hades today, she'd be like, I don't know what this is. You know what I mean?
Right. It's for us, it's like almost like a muscle memory in a way. But
and then when a game changes the sort of standard layout, that's when my brain breaks. There was a demo of something. I want to look it up. I was very impressed with it. It's like morbid. It's not Mortal Shell. I'm going to look it up. It's a cool game, but it mapped like the dash button to the right trigger or something weird.
Ooh, no.
Right. And as I'm playing it, I'm like, yeah, I actually very much understand why the control scheme is this way. And it's actually pretty cool, but my brain ain't going to do that. My brain ain't never going to do that motion. I cannot do it. And so I had to say, this is a cool game. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to play this one. Yeah. What is that? What is that game? I'll look it up later. We should go. I may have to pick someone up from a dance activity shortly.
Sorry,
but
I did not mean to talk over.
This is on me to be mindful of the time. But let us know, listeners and viewers. Have you been bitten by the vampire crawlers? Which famously features no vampires, as you know. Let us know how you're liking it.
But it's very Italian, as you also know.
Let us know how you're liking vampire crawlers and any other. I mean, again, we just keep saying it. Every week, every day in April is 20 games from my wish list are out now. So I guess I'll try to play those. So please do let us know what you're dabbling with. And until next week, please be kind. Rewind your podcast after listening, and we'll talk to you at that time.
Bye.